This is how we show the world. We show the world that this is a peaceful, loving revolution. And one of our jobs here today is to show this to the world, and we're also here to raise the vibration and keep it high, because they're throwing everything they can at us to try to bring us down, to try to scare us, and we're not going to let them succeed, are we? So we've been hearing this expression a lot recently. We've been hearing the expression, hold the line. Now, what does that mean? I'm sure a lot of you have spent some time thinking about it. What does it mean to hold the line? One thing that it means to hold the line, it also means to be willing to put everything on the line. And this is what we're seeing happen with our truckers right now. They are putting everything on the line. They are putting their careers on the line. They are being threatened with confiscation of their property, with fines, and with prison time. We also have Pastor Art Pawlowski here. He's sitting in prison right now as we speak. He's a political prisoner, and he is willing to put his physical freedom on the line for this. That's how serious he is about this, and we all need to be that level of commitment to this movement now. So we're at a very, very critical juncture here, and there's a specific segment of our society that is playing a very important role in these events that are unfolding, and this is our men and our women in law enforcement. The people across the country are calling on you to stand with us, to get on the right side of history, and to stop following illegal, unlawful mandates from the criminal organization that is posing as our government. We see you. We know that you are Canadian just as much as every one of us. We know that you have your families to support and that you want what's best for your children's future just like the rest of us. It's time to put aside this illusion that they put on you with this uniform and this badge to make you believe that you are different than us, that you must follow blindly these orders. The time has come to stand with us, so we call on all our police officers across the country now. So first up, we have a speaker here. We have the brother of Pastor Art Pawlowski, David Pawlowski. He's going to tell us a little bit about what's going on. Please welcome David.
Well, last Monday, the capo hit again. And you can see the footage on Facebook, the way they arrested my brother, Pastor Artur Pawlowski, was unbelievable. They're acting, some of them, like this is some kind of police drama in Hollywood. It was unbelievable, unnecessary. You know, Artur has been in jail since Monday. He says he's been fasting for the past 6 days. And he says whoever heard of Esther's fast and Daniel's fast is to join if it's on your heart. Many of us are fasting with him because we believe this problem, we need God on our side. And if God is for us, who can be against us? We received finally a phone call from him because the lawyers are trying to call over and over, and the message was not being passed. So he says that, he says hello to everyone. He salutes you. He says God bless you. He says hold the line. He says be bold as lions. They'll never bow to hyenas. He says that he's holding strong. However, the conditions in jail were terrible. I would say horrible. And it's got nothing to do with justice or law. He was strip searched twice and checked for contraband. I don't know what they were looking there for. Absolute abuse of power, humiliation. He was forced to go to the bathroom with an officer present and watching. Are they perverts? I don't know what's going on anymore. He was locked, and this is crazy disturbing as well. He was locked, what he described, it was like a dog kennel, twice for hours on end. He was locked there and he was suffocating for hours. He could not breathe properly. He was slowly suffocating for hours on end. Then they put him for hours during those days, 3 days on a bench. And whoever was in jail and knows that for more than few hours, a bench on a cement, it's so painful. Your whole muscles, bones, everything start to ache. They did that to us 3 days in a row, day and night, without any sleep. So they put him in that place for 3 times for hours on end. When he got back to his cell, it was all flipped upside down, like a tornado went through, because they said they're looking for contraband. Absolute abuse of power. Shame on them. Shame on them, you know. They confiscated the Bible, and we now know that it was ripped to shreds by one of the guys there. One of the guys with badges. He ripped it and he threw it to the garbage. Imagine what would happen if he did that to the Quran. His papers, narrated letter written to his lawyer, was also confiscated, which is completely illegal as well. He had no drinking water for 2 days. He was denied drinking water. There is no running water in a cell. Remember that they said that they're putting him for 2 weeks in quarantine because they say it's the biggest and most dangerous virus on the planet roaming around. But there is no running water. There's no toilet paper. There is no hygiene. He says that the room looks so filthy and disgusting, like it was not washed for years. So first thing he did, he took something, anything, just to kind of wash anything. So even he used, when he finally, after 2 days, he got some drinking water, he had to use this to wash the walls because it was so disgusting. This got nothing to do with your good or health. For the past many years, Arthur has been fighting for the rights and freedoms of Canadians. Since I can remember, for almost 20 years, he's been standing for the Charter of Rights, the Bill of Rights, so that we could worship and be free. Especially for the past 3 years. He says now he needs you to start fighting for him and for his family. Amen. He is thankful for all your support. Every day we are having a vigil at 7 p.m. Even though some of the people are there all day. It's overwhelming, it's amazing. Few people stay there and just have a watch. They watch the place. They pray. But every day, 7 o'clock, we're gonna have a vigil. And today at 1 o'clock, there's already people there. Please, if it's in your heart to come on a convoy and stand up for Pastor Arthur Pawlowski and be a voice for him, please come to the Riemann Center. He's locked in a solitary confinement 23 hours a day. They even denied him a full hour. He only has 20 minutes to make phone calls to lawyers and family. It's unacceptable, it's unbelievable that this is happening in Canada. He's not a criminal. He's a pastor, he's a patriot, he's a father, a brother. He's a Canadian. Please, come and join us. May God richly bless you. May He keep you. May He protect you and be with you always. I bless you all. My brother thanks you and blesses you from jail. I salute you.
And what is the charge? Why is he in prison? He gave a speech last week to the truckers in Coutts saying, "Hold the line." This has become a dangerous expression for this government. It's become very dangerous because they are scared. They should be very afraid. And everyone here should know very well while we have made our demands very clear that all the mandates be dropped immediately without condition, it's becoming very clear that these people aren't willing to compromise on this, and we know why. We know very well why. Because they are not our government. They do not represent us. This is the most expansive and deprived criminal organization in the world. And people like Justin Trudeau, Doug Ford, Jason Kenney, Dina Hinshaw, Jody Gondek, they work for this criminal organization, and they know that to back down is the end of this game for them. But they've already lost. They can't win this. So our next speaker has been very active in this movement since the very beginning. He started End Alberta Lockdown. He now runs Strong and Free Canada. Please welcome TheDubb.
Hey, we got three groups of you out there today. The first group is thinking, hey, well, we haven't seen you down here for a long time. Where you been? What you been doing? The second group is thinking, who's the old guy in the hat? And the third group, well, you've been following us for a long time, so you know where I've been, what I've been doing. Because, yeah, we started out here in Calgary as End Calgary Lockdown in August of 2020. We became End Alberta Lockdown, then End Canada Lockdown, and then strongandfreecanada.org, and we are now the largest anti-mandatory vaccine and anti-lockdown organization in the country. And I found out just the other day that our influence has now become international. You see, I conduct interviews with experts and whistleblowers, real experts, you know, people like Dr. Peter McCullough, Dr. Peter Bregan, Dr. Jane Ruby, and many, many others. And a lot of my interviews have gone viral with over 200,000 views. But that's not all we do. You see, we also produce a lot of satirical content because you can reach a lot of people with humor that you can't reach with facts. How many people have seen our Shiza ads? Yeah. So a couple of weeks ago, I interviewed Dr. Maria Hubmer-Mogg, who is at the forefront of the fight in Austria. And for those of you who don't know, they're even worse off than we are. A couple of weeks ago, the Austrian courts made it illegal to be unvaccinated. Yeah. So while I was chatting with Dr. Hubmer over Signal in preparation for the interview, she said, "You don't happen to know who did those Shizer ads, do you?" Yeah, Marie, I could hook you up. And in fact, just this morning, I was honored to address 200,000 demonstrators in Austria via Zoom. Now, those of you who have heard me speak before, you know that I usually give serious motivational speeches. But that's not what I'm going to do today. Today, we're going to have some fun. You know, that stuff we used to do all the time before the world lost its collective mind. And you see, I've been thinking about that, about why we can't just talk this out calmly and rationally. And I realized it's because the relationship between us and the other side, it's a lot like the relationship between men and women. Now, you see, I'm pretty good at relationships. I've been married to the same woman for 25 years. In fact, she's right there in the lime jacket shooting video of this. She's my best friend. She's my sister in arms. She's been shoulder to shoulder with me in the trenches since we started this. And I can honestly say that after 25 years, we're still in love. So I get a lot of my guy friends coming to me for relationship advice. And they'll say things like, "Well, I just don't understand her. I don't know what she wants." Well, guys, I have bad news. You're the problem. You don't believe me? Think about this. In a perfect man's world, the hotter a car is, the less it would cost. Because what's the point of paying $500,000 for a Lamborghini when you're just going to wrap it around a post 5 minutes after you drive it off the lot? Those things should cost $5. Now, in a perfect woman's world, clothes would have pockets. In a perfect man's world, women would show up naked and bring beer. In a perfect woman's world, men would understand that the ultimate romantic gesture would be cooking dinner for her and doing the dishes. In a perfect man's world, he would be James Bond. His life would always be exciting. Impossibly beautiful women would throw themselves at him wherever he goes, and he'd maintain a perfect physique while drinking a gallon of scotch a day and never actually working out. In a perfect woman's world, her guy would occasionally, for no particular reason, bring her flowers and chocolates and tell her she's pretty. See, that's the thing. Women dream about having a nicer coffee table. Men dream about owning a $17 million home on the beach in Tofino. Oh wait, no, that's just Trudeau. But you see, that's the thing. Everything that women want could actually happen, and everything that guys want is completely delusional. And this is why we can't communicate with the other side. You see, in our perfect world, politicians would actually work for the people who elected them, and they would understand that you can't make everybody happy, and so they would make choices that benefit the majority. In their perfect world, politicians screw over the majority to look after their special interest group. Oh, wait, sorry, that happens. No, check that one. In our perfect world, we would calmly and rationally discuss differences of opinion with reference to actual facts and data and reach a consensus. In their perfect world, anyone who disagrees with them will be shouted into silence. Oh wait, crap, no, that happens too. But you get my point. You see, this is the problem. We're rational, and they're completely insane. And you can't talk with crazy people. But that doesn't change the fact that we will continue to stand up for our rights and freedoms until we get them back. So with that in mind, I promised you we were going to have some fun today. How many people remember the Molson's I Am Canadian ad? Yeah. Well, yesterday I released my own version of the I Am Canadian rant. And we're going to do it here right now, all of us, and we're going to set a world record because we've got thousands and thousands of people here. It's going to be a world record for the most people to do an I Am Canadian rant in one place. Now, you guys don't have to know the words. I'm going to do those. But there's two things you got to help me with. And Ryan's giving me the time signal, but that's okay. This is only going to take like a minute and a half, and we'll be done. So the first thing you guys have to help me with is when we get to the end, you remember at the rant, the guy says, "My name is Joe, and I am Canadian." When we get to that part, I'm going to say, "My name is Will," but you guys are all going to join me. You're all going to say, "My name is," fill in your name, not Will, I mean unless your name's Will. Right? And I'm going to hold the mic out when we do that. And then, instead of "I am Canadian," we're going to say, "We are Canadian." Okay, so we're going to practice that part. My name is... And we are Canadian. Great, okay, you got the first part. The second thing you guys got to help me with is the background music, because it doesn't work without that. So I'm going to teach it to you right now. It's easy, it's a pattern that just keeps repeating. Many of you remember it from the ad as soon as I start doing it. So here we go. I want you guys to follow along. Da 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 and it just keeps doing that, okay? So, yep, I promise, Ryan, 1 minute and we're done. Okay, guys, so here we go. World record for an I Am Canadian rant. You guys, start the music, and we're gonna do the rant. Come on, da 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 da. Okay. Hey, I'm not a racist or a misogynist because I won't wear a mask, social distance, or take a vaccine. And while I don't know Justin, Bill, or Anthony personally, I'm sure they're lying to us. I voted for a prime minister, not a dictator. And for people's rights, not tyranny. And freedom of speech, not censorship. I still proudly fly our nation's flag outside my home, but my faith is in my fellow Canadians, not the government, and in civil disobedience, not violence. And I believe that our truckers are heroes. And that we should all follow their example. And that science is about facts. Truth is not whatever the media says. And the vaccines are neither safe nor effective. Canada will once again be a great democracy when we all stand together in unity and refuse to comply. My name is, and we are Canadian.
Next up, we have a few people that have just returned from Ottawa, and they're going to share a bit about what's going on there. Please welcome Laura.
Good afternoon. There's so many people here. Oh my gosh. Woo! My name is Laura, and I just got back from the capital city, where, like everybody here, I was part of a fringe minority with unacceptable views. Woo! I wanted to share my first-hand experience versus what we're seeing right now in mainstream media. Oh, can you guys hear me now? Yeah? Okay. I started out my journey in Calgary and finally caught up with a West Coast convoy in Arnprior, Ontario, just as we drove into downtown Ottawa. As we rolled into Ottawa, I was so happy to witness and support the Canadians. It was incredible. There was support along both sides of the highway, on the overpasses, fellow drivers on the highway honking their horns, waving, cheering, spreading the love. There was young children, there was families, there was teenagers, adults, middle-aged, everybody was there. It was amazing. People from all walks of life. It has been an emotional experience and at times overwhelming just to see how united we are as a country. Once I arrived at my hotel, it was a pleasant surprise to see so many naked faces. I recall one employee, hotel employee, and he said to me, "We can't enforce the mask, there's just too many people." And one thing he did say is, "But it's just an exception this weekend," and I thought, yeah, right. Throughout my trip, I stayed at 4 different hotels because occupancy was through the roof. You really couldn't stay in a hotel for too many days because it was all booked up. And it was the exact same situation, naked faces everywhere. There's many stories I could share, but obviously I know time constraint is here, but there's 2 key things I really want to talk about, and it's love and unity and censorship of the mainstream media. Louder? Okay. While I was in Ottawa, there was so much love and unity among people from all parts of Canada. You could meet a stranger just walking down Wellington, which is just right in front of Parliament, and everybody would share their stories, the challenges they went through. You'd give a hug to them and it was immediate connection. I've never met someone and immediately had a lifelong friend. We were all together, supporting the same desire for our freedoms to be returned. There were Aboriginal chiefs there, elders having ceremonies and also stating their own concerns. There were vaccinated, not vaccinated, people that had experienced adverse reactions, people that had lost their loved ones to the jab. Despite our different circumstances, we all came together in the capital. Walking down Wellington was the best experience. We would all wave to truckers, shout out, "Freedom!" and thank them for bringing Canadians together. There was even a flatbed truck full of food for all the truckers. The surplus food was given to some of the folks living in the homeless shelters. There was even free food downtown. We had homemade chicken noodle soup, we had fire-baked pizza, sausages, snacks, desserts, bag lunches, water. We were taken care of by so many people. We sang "O Canada," we danced in the streets, we had barrels with fire to keep us warm, we hugged truckers. One trucker even let me honk his horn. The common theme among the truckers and freedom folks is that we're staying there until the mandates end. Now in mainstream media, you may hear different things about the truckers. Some truckers are coming in, coming out because they got to go back to their jobs, but they're coming back to Ottawa. So if you see on TV that there are less trucks, it's because people are coming in and going. They're not just staying there necessarily the whole time. Many of the truckers are staying there the whole time, but that's why you may see some of the streets a little bit more clear than what they were the first week. When I was there, I met a trucker and his wife that I actually offered up my room for them to go and have a shower. They had been in their truck for 3 days, since Friday, since the whole convoy started, without having a shower. I stayed in one of the Holiday Inns downtown, and it was interesting. One of the managers came up to me and some of the truckers and said, you know, thanks for you guys coming. We have so much business. We haven't had this much business in Ottawa since COVID 2 years ago. So clearly, Trudeau has been disconnected from reality that businesses are happy to have truckers there, and they're benefiting financially from the truckers. It's clean! There's no garbage on the streets! The convoy and the freedom movement has even brought Alberta and Quebec together, finally! Finally! As an Albertan that spent many years in Quebec, it warms my heart to see how Albertans and Quebecers are finally unified. It took the threat of tyranny to bring us together under one cause of freedom. They're certainly holding the line. And then just to quickly go over some of the censorship in media. Okay, I'll be quick, Brian. On day five of my trip, of the 1 week trip I was there, CTV reported there were only 250 demonstrators. When we all know there were thousands. It's very similar to what we have here. The numbers reported in our rallies in Calgary are heavily underrepresented by mainstream media. They're constantly trying to downplay how big this movement is to supporters of CBC and CTV. The censorship of the media really was the biggest eye-opening part of this trip. I watched CBC film live right in front of my eyes on Parliament Hill and hear them lie to their viewers about how us protesters are violent, we're inciting hate, we're harassing people. Shame! Shame on them, exactly, yeah. Even the snow, I mean, you could see the first week that I was there, both sides of Wellington was covered in snow. The truckers got together, they bought 100 shovels, and they shoveled the sidewalk. You know why? Because the city of Ottawa wouldn't do it. And one last thing that I would like to say is, obviously we had a lot of comments about the monuments, Terry Fox, the War Memorial. But one thing that mainstream media did not cover is that we actually had an Albertan stand right in front of the sign, or right in front of the Terry Fox statue with a sign that said, "We love you, Terry," to stand on guard and make sure the monument was protected. We had flowers at the foot of the statue to show that we do respect Terry Fox and his contributions. None of this was discussed on mainstream media, and it wasn't discussed because it contradicts the narrative. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you for supporting freedom.
All right, we're on schedule. We got 2 more speeches. We'll be ready to walk around 2 o'clock here. We got one more pair here. They just got back from Ottawa, Lorenda and Trevor.
Hello, fellow patriots. I was told that I shouldn't write a speech, but because, although I am not a trucker, I do have a trucker mouth. And from what I've witnessed over the last 2 years, I wanted to stay on topic. Over the last 2 years, my friends Jesse, Lorenda, and myself have protested all over Western Canada. We have lived civil disobedience daily. The most common phrase that we kept saying was, "When are people going to wake up?" Well, Calgary, it looks like you woke up. Now, what we need to keep deep implanted in our thinking now is we are far from over. As Thomas Jefferson once said, the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. 3 weeks ago when I sat at home with, go figure, the flu.
It's the flu, Trevor.
I couldn't put my phone down as I was watching Canadian truckers inspire the rest of Canada. On the Monday after the first weekend at Parliament, what kept rolling in my mind was I would be mad at myself if I hadn't gone. I called Lorinda and told her to pack her bags because we're going to be a part of history. And that we'd be leaving for Ottawa on Wednesday. Upon arrival, what I witnessed was a celebration of Canadians from all over the country. I saw people from every cultural background. I even saw a punk rocker with a 2-foot-high mohawk with a Canadian flag painted on it. Where am I again? Sorry, I lost my spot. Police. I was also asked not to disparage the police, so I won't. But believe me, you will never see me thank a police officer, as what I witnessed at Grace Life Baptist almost a year ago changed my way of thinking about law enforcement. I also witnessed much of the same in Ottawa. Every museum was shut down and protected by various levels of enforcement. Imagine that. Police protecting the people's buildings from the people. Although I never saw harassment towards truckers, there were stories of it. Which brings me to my latest badge of honor. Seems as though the most popular crimes in Ottawa is honking your horn. Honk, honk. I'm going to end my part of this message with, in 50 years of my life, I never dreamed that I'd be a political activist. But this is time when we all must be political activists. Write your MLAs, MPs, and our Governor General. Let them know that you feel this government has failed us. Freedom and liberté.
Good afternoon, fringe minority. Wow, look at all of you people out there. I'm so excited to be here with you. My name's Lorinda. We just got back from Ottawa, Trevor and I and Marianne, and I am again a proud Canadian. I have not been a proud Canadian for a long, long time. We started this journey almost 2 years ago, although it's only 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and here we are still. I do this for my kids and my grandkids. I don't know, I'm sure there's lots of parents out there, lots of people with kids and grandkids, and we need to be free in this country and leave this country to our children and future generations as a free country. So I need a little bit of audience participation right now. It's my grandson's first birthday. And so I want all of us to say happy birthday to Gio at the count of 3. So 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday, Gio! This is for you, Gio and Anastasia. I'm not going to really go into our trip. Laura did a great job in telling you exactly kind of on the ground what we saw. But from my perspective, true patriot love, I went back to our Canadian anthem and I thought about the words to our Canadian anthem. And true patriot love is what we saw in Ottawa. All the people standing, didn't matter what their color was, what their age was, children, didn't matter your ethnicity. We all stood together, we danced, we celebrated, they fed the homeless, they fed all the people that were there. It was just an incredible experience. And Canadians have come together and we stand on guard for thee, just like our Canadian anthem says. Thank you, Canada. True North, strong and free!
Thank you. I love the honk honk revolution. Someone told us today, when you see a convoy passing, one long honk and two short honks. That's how you indicate that you're honking for freedom. All right, we just have one last short message from one of our leaders at the University of Calgary. Please welcome Barrett.
Hey everyone, my name is Barrett and I'm currently a student at the University of Calgary. Over the past few months, myself, my friends, and my fellow students have had their educations dangled over their heads, and some of us have had it taken away. All for what? Our universities are bragging about their 99% vaccination rates. But what did that cost? That cost our trust in the institutions that are supposed to set the world standard for health and science. It costs our trust in our government to uphold our Charter of Rights and Freedoms. It costs our trust in our medical system and doctors to do what's best for our health. Many of us will never see the world in the same way again. A trust has been broken that may never be repaired. Recently, we have won a battle, but the war is not over. Do any of us have trust in our federal, provincial, or municipal governments to curb vaccine mandates forever? Do any of us trust our politicians to respond to COVID appropriately in the future? Do we trust that such an atrocious violation of our rights will never again occur? Yeah, of course we don't. Our world is severely lacking in dignity, honesty, and integrity, and this is clear when observing most of our leaders and their actions. For the students, many student unions, bodies that are supposed to uphold the wills of students with unpopular opinions, are now demanding universities to reimpose mandates. SAIT is now giving out free rapid testing on request, despite a month ago forcing unvaccinated students to pay twice weekly $40 for their own tests. A U of C professor has come out with a divisive statement instructing their students to write to the Advanced Minister of Education and student unions to advocate for the reimposition of vaccine mandates. How can we tell ourselves that this is the world we want to hand to our children? How can we subject them to a world where their leaders lock them up for years? How can we subject them to a world where they do not have a right to their own body? How can we subject them to a world where they're not allowed to think for themselves or question authority? We must not back down until our lives are exactly as they were 2 years ago. In order to begin holding our post-secondary institutions accountable, students have made a petition that will be on the Calgary Freedom Central Facebook later today. Please sign this petition so we can aim to make our post-secondary institutions honorable and dignified for the next generation. Thank you all. Keep standing up for what you believe in.
Okay. All right, you guys feeling ready for a walk?